Hello everyone, this is Zooc, and today I'm going to be doing something a little bit special. I know I said that previously, but yes, I'm doing something special again, haha. Recently I've been watching a lot of inking tutorials and comic book artists doing their thing, and now I'm fascinated with it, so I decided to try it out and see how it goes. It's really quite a different style than penciling. Like it's more analytical than penciling. That's what I've discovered so far. With inking, you really gotta know your theory like really well, where the shadow falls, where the light shines, etc., etc. And we gotta think in terms of blocking out. So it's quite a different approach than penciling, where you can just like go in with a smooth, very light gradient and then, figure it out from that point. Here, you can't really do that. You can't really draw random lines. So yes, I drew a zombie cowboy, just whatever really. I just wanted to draw something with clothes and to see how well I would do. And it's not the best thing ever. Like I'm not, compared to what I saw in those tutorials, I'm like the shittiest noob ever. But I like it. I really like it. And I'm thinking of switching my style, at least for a little while, or maybe just doing it once in a while just to practice and switch to full-time inking. But I do need, unlike with penciling, where you can just grab a piece of copy paper and a pencil and draw and do pretty cool stuff. With inking, unfortunately, it's not quite as simple, because you do need, in this case, like you do need a certain kind of paper and you do need proper tools. So yeah, unfortunately, Copic markers don't really do inking that much justice, because you get a very uniform line. And the thing with comic books is that the stuff looks so good because there's different line weights, different line thicknesses, and that's achieved either through a very thin brush, which I am way too scared to try and approach right now, or a quill pen, which I have some, and I've ordered some more from the US, as I've mentioned. And you get some really interesting effects, something that gives drawings a lot of dimension and a lot of a sense of dynamics, So yeah, as much as I like my Copics, they're not very good for comic book style inking. But I mean, my drawing isn't really comic book style because it's not clean. The thing with comic book inking is that every line is thought out, every block of black is thought out in great detail and expanded upon, and I just kind of threw together a bunch of lines and where I thought the shadows would be, so it's not really the same thing. But I began as a comic book style of shading, and then I ended up just fucked up the pants, and then I ended up just putting everything together kind of chaotically. So it's not the best result in the world, but hey, it's the first time I've ever inked something fully, so for a first, I think that's okay, if I do say so myself. What else? I'm drawing a blank now. Fuck. Was I gonna say something? Oh, yeah. Okay. I know a lot of people, I've gotten a lot of subs recently, and they've been asking me what pencils I use. Okay, first off, I've made a few videos about it. They're on the channel. Just look up drawing materials on the channel and you will find them. Secondly, it does not matter at all. It really doesn't. Grab a number 2, a piece of copy paper, and you can pretty much do what I do. Like, I love my toys. I like my tools. I like to have a lot of them. My dad was exactly the same way. He used to be a graphic designer as well, and used to work everything by hand. He had no knowledge of computers or anything. Like, he drew like entire book covers and painted them and whatever. So he had like a room full of tools just for that. So I kind of inherited that from him. But it really doesn't matter. Just get like a mechanical pencil, a 2B or whatever, and just go crazy. You can do anything with that. Or even an HB. HB is actually number 2. So it really, tools aren't that important. I know this sounds really corny, and it's not what people want to hear. You want to hear like, okay, just buy this pencil and you'll be amazing. No, it doesn't work like that. It really doesn't. Like, I started with just Faber-Castell pencils, and those worked perfectly fine. And then I switched to Derwent because, hey, I read a lot of reviews and they say Derwent is the shit. Well, I don't really like them that much, to be honest. I mean, they're okay. They do exactly the same thing as Faber-Castell. But there are certain things that annoy me about them, such as the kind of wood they use, the fact that it chips, the fact that it's a bit more difficult to sharpen. And then I got Prismacolors because I saw all these concept guys drawing in Prismacolors, like the real pros. So yeah, that's great and all, but those aren't erasable. So again, if you're prone to doing mistakes, that's probably not a good choice. So, you know, it's like I got all the tools, I got as much as I could, but in the end, I'm still drawing with a mechanical pencil for most of my shit. Just a 2B, I think it is. So it doesn't matter. You know, I appreciate people's interest and everything, but you gotta understand that to be able to draw well, you actually have to be able to draw well and not grab some fantastic tools that will perform miracles, because there are none. Really, there aren't. So yeah, anyway, this other drawing, this inking project of mine, not fully pleased with it, but I think it was okay to begin with, and I will keep doing it because, I don't know, it's just so fucking amazing what these people can do, like the comic book guys. I don't know what kind of money is in this profession. I imagine not a whole lot, because let's face it, comics aren't really what they used to be before, at least not to my knowledge. But the skill that it takes to, like, it's just mind-blowing what they do. The penciler's job is the hardest one. The penciler has to actually come up with everything. Has to come up with all the sets, he has to know perspective to a T. He has to know everything and come up with everything. So he's the most responsible one and the one that has to be most skilled in the team. And then after the penciler details everything, the paper is sent to the inker. Usually there are two separate guys, but nowadays it is somewhat fashionable for a penciler to scan his own shit and ink it in Photoshop because, hey, digital is a digital age and everything. But yeah, people still do it traditionally nowadays too. They send it to an inker, which has to complete the drawing basically, and then it's sent to a colorist. There are 3 people in this cycle that all have somewhat equally important jobs, because if the inker fucks up the drawing, then he basically has to start all over again. There's not really much use of whiteout in a professional setting of a comic book page design, so you don't really get to use that a lot. But there are a lot of tricks that they use, or they work with their mistakes. Like, you know, they're pretty good at that. And then the colorist does all the shit. But I don't really like color because I'm half colorblind, so I don't care about that. I just want to make pretty lines. So yeah, this has been the inking experiment for the day, and we'll see what's next. Might decide to draw in my own blood or some shit. As far as I understand, there's some guy that sells paintings made with his own blood. That's pretty crazy, but yeah, I guess it's the novelty factor or whatever. So yeah, anyway, thank you for watching, and please rate that shit, even if you disliked it, and I will see you for my next videos. Have a good weekend. Bye bye.